Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I'm Jack, and 8 months before everything blew up, I was engaged to Kathleen. We had been together 5 years, and for most of that time, I thought we were solid. We lived in my condo, the one I bought before we even met. It wasn't big, but it was ours, and it felt steady, at least to me. Kathleen had recently started working on a marketing project that paired her with a graphic designer named Ben Carter. He showed up in conversations more than I expected. Nothing dramatic, just little mentions about how Ben's hilarious or Ben fixed the layout in 2 minutes. I didn't overthink it. I'm not the jealous type. I watch people. I pay attention. That's always been enough. A month before the disaster, Kathleen suggested hosting a small celebration dinner at our place. The project was going well, and she wanted to thank everyone who helped. I agreed. I liked the idea of seeing the people she spent so much time with. That night, Olivia Barnes and Grace Miller, Kathleen's two closest friends, arrived first. They were loud, excited, and already halfway through a bottle of wine. Then Ben walked in, holding a dessert tray and smiling like he'd been invited to a family reunion. Kathleen hovered near him the entire time, leaning in when he talked, finishing his jokes before he reached the punchline, brushing dust off his shoulder like it was natural. When I stepped near them, she stepped away. It wasn't obvious, but it wasn't subtle either. I kept my voice even. "You guys seem to be working hard on that campaign." Kathleen answered before Ben could open his mouth. "Yeah, we've been grinding nonstop. Late nights, early mornings, you know how it is." Ben nodded with this small, polite smile, but he didn't add anything. Interesting. During dinner, I noticed Kathleen flipping her phone face down every time a message came in. She never used to do that. I didn't say a word. I just filed it away in the part of my brain that tracks patterns. The evening was pleasant enough, but something underneath it felt off. A shift I couldn't name yet. A current running the wrong direction. By the time dessert was served, I had the sense that I was the only person in the room who didn't know the full story. But I wasn't angry. Not yet. Just watching, collecting, waiting. Kathleen sat on the edge of the couch next to Ben, knees angled toward him. Olivia sprawled across the armchair, and Grace curled up on the floor with her wine like it was a pet. Olivia lifted her glass. "All right," she announced, slurring just enough to warn me something stupid was coming. "We are doing toasts. Kathleen's big moment deserves it." Kathleen giggled and waved her off. "Olivia, stop. We're not doing that." "We absolutely are," Olivia shot back, rising to her feet. "To Kathleen, the woman who always has a plan. Always." They all cheered. I gave a small smile. Normal so far. Olivia kept going. "She's so smart. She doesn't put everything on one man. No offense, Jack." I raised an eyebrow. "None taken." Grace snorted into her drink. Ben looked at his shoes. Olivia turned dramatically, glass lifted like she was performing on stage. "To Kathleen and her brilliant backup fiancé." My stomach didn't drop. My pulse didn't spike. I just watched. Kathleen went still in a way that told me this wasn't some random drunk line. She wasn't shocked. She wasn't confused. She was embarrassed. And not because Olivia was lying. Then Olivia pointed straight at Ben. "If Jack ever messes up, she's got Ben right here. Locked and loaded." She made a finger gun motion, laughing at her own joke. The room cracked in half with silence. Grace froze. Kathleen's cheeks flushed pink, and her eyes darted to him. Not to deny it, not to laugh it off, but like she was checking his reaction. That told me everything. I kept my voice level. "Backup fiancé, huh?" Ben finally spoke, mumbling. "Olivia's drunk. It's just a joke." Kathleen forced a laugh that didn't reach her eyes. "Babe, don't take that seriously. She's being stupid." Olivia waved her hand. "Oh, please, you talk about it all the time. You literally said—" Kathleen lunged forward. "Olivia, stop!" Too late. The shift I'd sensed earlier crystallized into a single, clear truth. There was a world inside this room I wasn't invited to, a world I was supposed to stay blind to. I smiled. Not happy, not angry, just ready. "Interesting joke," I said quietly. "Very interesting." Nobody spoke after that. I stood up slowly. "Jack," Kathleen said, her voice thin, "can we not do this right now?" "We're not doing anything," I said. "I'm just stepping away for a moment." I walked to our bedroom. No one followed. I opened the drawer where I had placed her engagement ring earlier that afternoon. I told her I'd taken it to clean it for photos we never took. She didn't question it. I came back to the living room holding the small box. Kathleen saw it and whispered, "Jack, don't." I didn't answer. I didn't even look at her. I walked right past her and stopped directly in front of Ben Carter. He sat rigid, hands on his knees. I held out the box. "Back up, fiancé," I said quietly. "Your turn." He froze. His eyes went wide. He didn't reach for it. So I opened his hand myself and placed the box in his palm. Olivia's wine glass tipped over. Grace gasped. Kathleen shot to her feet. "Jack, what are you doing?" she shouted, her voice cracking. "This is insane." "Is it?" I asked softly. "You've been staying late with him. You canceled our weekend trip and didn't tell me you were out with Ben instead. You turned your phone upside down every time he texted you. But sure, maybe I'm the crazy one." Ben stammered. I didn't know she... Kathleen, what is he talking about?" Kathleen spun toward him. "Don't look at me like that. There's nothing going on." I raised a hand. "I'm not asking questions. I'm done asking. I'm just giving both of you the space you've apparently been circling around for months." Kathleen's face twisted in panic. "Jack, everyone is drunk. This is being blown out of proportion." "No," I said. "This is me correcting a proportion." I walked to the front door and opened it. "Party's over. I need everyone out." They hesitated, so I kept my voice steady. "Now." Ben set the ring box on the coffee table like it was burning his hand. Olivia and Grace shuffled out first, whispering. Ben followed without a word. Kathleen stayed planted, trembling. "Jack, please," she said. "We can talk. Just not like this." "We'll talk," I said. "Tomorrow, not tonight." "Where am I supposed to go?" she snapped. "To any of the people you've been joking with," I answered. Her breath caught, but she didn't fight back this time. She walked out quietly. When the door clicked shut, the condo finally stopped pretending to be something it wasn't. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was torn up or confused, but because the silence felt clearer than anything Kathleen had said in months. I sat at the dining table until sunrise, drinking water, replaying details, counting red flags I'd ignored, because I wanted to believe she was still the same woman I proposed to. At 8 in the morning, I called a lawyer. I didn't need a fight. I needed facts. The lawyer confirmed everything I already suspected. The condo was mine alone, bought before the relationship, protected. Kathleen had no claim to it. I could ask her to leave at any time as long as I returned her belongings. That was all I needed to hear. I hung up, set my phone aside, and started packing. I wasn't angry. I wasn't rushing. I just moved through the place like I was cleaning out a guest room after a long visit. I folded her clothes. I put her notebooks, sketch pads, and framed photos into separate boxes. The only thing left untouched was the ergonomic office chair I bought her 6 months earlier. She said her back hurt. She said she'd pay me back. She never did. Around noon, Kathleen's key slid into the lock. She pushed the door, but it caught on the interior latch I'd installed after everyone left. Her voice hit immediately. "Jack, why is the door locked? Open it." I kept the chain on and cracked it open 2 inches. "You don't live here anymore," I said calmly. "Your things are by the door." She tried to shove it. "Are you serious? Over Olivia's stupid toast?" "This isn't about a toast." She let out a shaky breath, part anger, part fear. "I told you it was a joke. You didn't even let me explain." I met her eyes through the gap. "You weren't embarrassed because she lied. You were embarrassed because she told the truth in front of everyone." Kathleen's face tightened. "I never cheated." "I never said you did," I replied. "But you built a world where you acted single, and I'm not living in it with you." Her voice cracked. "Where am I supposed to go? You have friends? You have family? You're not sleeping here." She wiped her face. "You can't just throw me out like garbage." "I'm not," I said. "Your things are packed. You can pick them up in a 1-hour window, today or tomorrow. You choose." Her shock flashed into rage. "You're unbelievable." "And you're late," I said, closing the door. "Text me when you're coming for the boxes." The chain slid into place. Her footsteps stormed away. For the first time in a long time, the condo felt like mine. Kathleen stayed quiet for 2 days after picking up her boxes. No yelling, no begging, no apologies. Just silence. I thought maybe she finally understood that the engagement was over and the conversation was finished. I was wrong. On the third morning, my manager, Thomas Reeves, called me into his office. Thomas wasn't the type to dance around issues. He closed the door, sat down, and folded his hands. "Jack, we received some emails about you." I didn't flinch. "What kind of emails?" He sighed. "Serious ones. Claims that you've been emotionally aggressive toward your fiancée, that you hide money from her, that you've been acting unprofessional around a junior employee." My voice stayed steady. "And these were anonymous?" "Yes. HR has to investigate anyway." I nodded once. "All right, I'll cooperate fully." We talked for 20 minutes. I answered everything clearly. No panic, no defensiveness, just facts. Thomas watched me closely, and I could tell he believed me. But procedure is procedure. When I stepped out of his office, I texted my lawyer and forwarded the details. Half an hour later, he called. "Jack, those emails didn't come out of nowhere. We need to know where they came from." "Can they be traced?" I asked. "They can with the right help." He connected me to a tech consultant. HR shared the metadata from the emails. It didn't take long. The consultant called back that same evening. "I found something. The messages came from a throwaway account, but the Wi-Fi they were sent from registered to Olivia Barnes." I closed my eyes for a second, not in disbelief, just in confirmation. My lawyer didn't waste a minute. "We're drafting a cease and desist, harassment, defamation, intentional damage to your employment." We sent it to Kathleen and Olivia both. The letters went out the next morning by courier. By afternoon, everything stopped. No anonymous emails, no messages, no surprise accusations. It was like someone slammed a door shut. But silence doesn't mean the storm is gone. It only means someone is planning the next move. That night, as I locked the door, I knew Kathleen wasn't finished. Not even close. 3 days after the cease and desist letters went out, my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it, but something told me to pick up. "Jack?" a voice said. It's Ben." I walked to the window and leaned on the frame. "What do you want?" He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath. "Look, man, I didn't know how bad things were. I thought you two were basically done. Kathleen told me you were ignoring her for months." "That's interesting," I said. "She was living with me every day." "I know," he muttered. I shouldn't have believed her. There was a long silence before he continued. "She stayed at my place for a bit after the party. I thought I was helping. But she kept saying you ruined her life, that she had to fight back. She tried to get me to email your company, said I should tell HR you threatened me once." I didn't react. I didn't give him anything. "She asked you to do that?" I said. "Yes. And when I told her no, she lost it. Threw her stuff around, cried for hours, said I never cared about her." He cleared his throat. "I told her to leave. She's not staying with me anymore." I could hear guilt in his voice, but I didn't owe him comfort. "Ben," I said, "I don't need your apology. I just need you gone." "Yeah," he whispered. "I get that." He hung up. A few hours later, Grace texted me out of nowhere. "You didn't hear this from me. Kathleen's staying at her parents' place. Her mom made her cut ties with Olivia. She's having breakdowns every day. Lost one of her freelance clients already." I read it twice, then put my phone down. The next morning, more pieces drifted my way. Kathleen had shown up at her old office twice, trying to get work from a former client, but broke down crying in the lobby. She called Grace at 3 a.m., begging her to talk to me. She told her parents that I threw her into the street, leaving out every detail that mattered. People who once cheered for her started pulling away. No one wants to be close to drama they didn't sign up for. For the first time, the world she built, the jokes, the secrets, the late-night whispers, collapsed on top of her, and there was no one left to hold it up. But one last loose end remained: the chair. The $1,200 ergonomic chair she claimed she couldn't work without. The one she owed me money for. I knew I hadn't heard the end of that. It was close to 9 at night when my phone rang, another unknown number. This time, I answered immediately. I had a feeling I knew who it was. "Jack?" a woman said. "This is Margaret, Kathleen's mother." I leaned back in my chair. "Good evening." She cleared her throat, sounding like she had rehearsed this call several times. "I'm calling because Kathleen, she isn't doing well. Emotionally, physically. She's very stressed, and her back pain has returned. She says you have her work chair." "I do," I said calmly. "She needs it. Margaret insisted. She can't sit for long without it. She's trying to get back on her feet. She wants to find work again. She never paid for it, I replied. I bought it. She agreed to reimburse me. Margaret let out a tight breath. Jack, after everything she's been through, you're really going to nickel and dime her? No, I said. I'm going to treat it like the agreement it was. You want the chair back? You pay what it cost. That chair is used now, she snapped. You can't expect the full amount. I'm not negotiating, I said. The price is the price. You pay it, and I'll put the chair outside for pickup. That's the deal. Silence spread through the line. I could hear her frustration, the same brand of pressure Kathleen used to apply in softer tones. It didn't work on me anymore. Finally, she said, How much? $1,200. She muttered something under her breath, then sighed. Fine. Send me your transfer details. I texted her my payment info. A minute later, the notification pinged. Payment received from Margaret Williams. Amount, $1,200. I rolled the chair out to the garage, locked the condo behind me, and left it near the edge of the driveway. An hour later, headlights cut across my window. A small silver sedan pulled up. Kathleen stepped out, hair tied back, wearing a hoodie 2 sizes too big. She didn't look toward the condo. Not once. She rushed to the chair, shoved it into the back seat with help from the driver, and disappeared into the night. No scene, no speech, no last-minute plea. Just gone. I stood there for a moment, staring at the empty driveway. This whole thing started with a joke I wasn't meant to hear, a room full of people laughing at something I was supposed to be blind to. Now the room was empty. The condo was quiet. And for the first time in a long time, the quiet actually felt honest. I locked the door, turned off the lights, and sat in the silence I had earned. It wasn't victory. It wasn't revenge. It was closure. And that was enough. Thank you for watching.